something arranged by my colleague George West, our president, who's been very keen on what's been happening to ex-servicemen and so on, and how Mr. Cameron has introduced security considerations into the EU debate on a quite false prospectus in our view. And so we have invited for a 5-minute contribution Captain Will Carver of Veterans for Britain to explain a bit about his organisation, what they're doing, and it's something which my committee, I'm sure, will consider very favourably when it comes to assisting them. Will.
Thank you very much. It is, first of all, fantastic to be here. I've got to say the last time I was in front of an audience was as an instructor at Sandhurst. I was able to give people press-ups then if they were falling asleep. Unfortunately, I don't have that power now, so you're all safe. But as has been said, I'm very grateful to be here representing Veterans for Britain, a small cog in this great campaign to persuade the people of the UK to vote to leave the EU. 6 weeks ago, Veterans for Britain was nothing more than a Twitter account. However, following the infamous Downing Street letter of 11.5 generals, once Generals Rose and Bramall had spoken out about the pressure of signing it, it became clear that someone had to step in and ensure that those thousands of military veterans who have served their country during peace and conflict from the Second World War to the present day, and who wish to continue doing so by campaigning for Brexit, had a voice in this debate. And of course, I should add the serving military as well. 2 weeks ago, or rather last week, I attended the Cavalry Memorial Parade in Hyde Park, an annual event, but it gives me the chance to reconnect with my former soldiers, my old regiment who I'd left 2 years before. Almost to a man, they assured me they would be voting out. Unfortunately, I must admit, it may not be the same for the officers. I put that at rather 50-50. And I say that because there is a tendency for the establishment view to permeate throughout the officers' corps. However, I have some good news on that point coming up. Anyway, the man that stood up was Major General Julian Thompson, the very same man who led the Royal Marines ashore at San Carlos Water in East Falkland 34 years ago this month. Together with General Julian at its head, a small team of military veterans entered the world of politics with 3 specific aims. Although I confess I entered as an 8-year-old leafleting for the referendum party in 1997. Firstly, to put forward the defence and security case amongst the general population for leaving the EU. Secondly, to reach out and persuade the serving members of the armed forces to vote to leave. And finally, to act as a vehicle to enable senior retired officers and defence figures to intervene in the referendum debate and not become isolated in the media. Believe me, there are those officers that want to get involved that perhaps might not have done beforehand. In order to put our message across, we are focusing on 4 key themes, and please do use these when confronted by the Remainers. And as an Army officer of 7 years who served in Afghanistan twice, taught at the Royal Military Academy Sandhurst, and served alongside the militaries of the USA, Canada, Denmark, France, Australia, Malaysia, and Singapore, I can tell you resolutely we will be just as safe outside the EU. And more importantly, fully engaged with our allies across the globe. Defence does not begin and end at the Straits of Gibraltar nor the Bosphorus. These key messages are as follows, and I'll rush through these, and I do have more detail outside of this forum. Firstly, the importance of NATO vis-à-vis the EU. And so much has been spoken about that in this debate already. Secondly, the EU's own military ambitions. If we vote to remain, a European army is around the corner. The European Parliament wants it, Jean-Claude Juncker wants it, and now we learn Germany wants it. And these days, what Germany wants, Germany gets. Thirdly, will Britain be isolated if we leave? No. Sir Richard Dearlove, the former head of MI6, describes it better than I can. Britain is Europe's leader in defence and security and gives much more than it gets in return. It is very difficult to imagine any of the other EU countries ending the relationship that they currently enjoy with the UK in the event of Brexit. And lastly, intelligence. Again, MI5, MI6, and GCHQ are the envy of the rest of the European Union. Our intelligence sharing network is based upon the Five Eyes Agreement with the USA, Canada, New Zealand, and Australia. Europol is small fry in comparison. And whilst too many countries still retain ties that are simply too close for comfort with Russia for their security services to be completely trusted, we will not suffer by leaving. So, what are Veterans for Britain doing about this? Well, we do need your help. We're a small team with limited funding, but grand ambitions. Often a dangerous combination, it must be added. We will focus on the following things. Firstly, we have produced a leaflet for distribution in port and garrison cities, but it can be used anywhere. If you have barracks, closed or otherwise still open, in your local area, please sign up and take leaflets, and they can be added to, I'm sure, your reams of other leaflets from other organizations, but we believe that this message will get through. We will get them to you for free. Secondly, public meetings. We plan on holding a rally in Portsmouth towards the end of this month. We'll have a number of high-profile figures there. Do come along, but more importantly, if you have an opportunity for a defense-related speaker, again in your local area, we will do our best to provide a speaker for you to put forward this case. And lastly, media interventions. I can't say too much on this. However, do not be disheartened by the relative quiet of senior officers on the Leave side. We do have them. However, just remember, before emerging victorious at Waterloo, Wellington waited. He allowed Napoleon to smash his army against the thin lines of British infantry. And it was only then, when the day was drawing to a close against an exhausted opponent who had thrown everything that he could against the defenders, that Wellington deployed his reserve and ordered the general advance to watch Napoleon's army break before him. We have our reserve ready and waiting. Let me be clear, we do need your help. If you can take 1,000 leaflets to your local campaign, not yourselves, of course, please do so. Or if you can give any time or provide a forum for us to get our message across, please do get in touch. We would love to hear from you. And in practical terms, easiest thing to do would be to sign the form on the leaflet table at the site. Anyway, thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for having me here.